Welcome to Introduction to JavaScript Programming. JavaScript is basically known as the language of most modern web browser. It's a powerful, flexible, and fast programming language now being used for increasingly complex web development and beyond. JavaScript powers the dynamic behavior on most websites of the internet. In this lesson, you will learn the introductory coding concepts, including data type and built-in objects. These foundations will set you up for understanding the more complex concepts you'll encounter later. First of all, you need a code editor. To start programming with JavaScript, you need a code editor to put your code there. VS Code is the code editor for this course. So first of all, you need to install VS Code from code.visualstudio.com/download. Open this link and based your operating system, you need to select the appropriate version of VS Code. I'm using Mac, so I click on Mac, and after a few seconds, the installation file will be downloaded, and after clicking on this file, you will have Visual Studio on your computer, like this. Now it's time to create a new file. From File menu, New File, and press Command S to save the file and put your file in the desktop and name it js1.html. Don't forget to put .html at the end of your file name. Great. Now you have js1.html in your desktop and you can put your code there. The second step to programming with JavaScript is to download and install a web browser. To watch output of JavaScript code, you need a web browser. Google Chrome is the web browser of this course. Install it from this address, google.com/Chrome. Here, you just need to press download Chrome and press accept and install. And after a few seconds, the Chrome will be downloaded on your computer. After installing Chrome, open Google Chrome like this and make it side by side to your VS Code window. Now it's time to open js1.html in your Google Chrome. From File menu, click Open File. Go to your desktop and select JS1 and click on Open. Great. Now it's time to start coding with JavaScript. You have your code editor to put your code there, and here on the Google Chrome you can watch your results. To write JS code inside HTML file, you need to create a script tag. So what you need to do is to create a default HTML file. So go back to VS Code and inside js1.html, create these tags. The first tag is doctype HTML. It says that your HTML file is in HTML5 version. The second tag is HTML and close the HTML tag. Then create the head tag, and inside the head tag you need to create a script tag. Whatever you type inside the script tag will be run as a JavaScript code in your browser. So save the file, and here you are ready to put your JavaScript code. Before starting JavaScript code, you need to open JavaScript console in your browser. The JavaScript console is a panel that displays important information like errors for developers. If we need to see console, find JavaScript console in your web browser. Go to Google Chrome and from View menu, go to Developer and here click on JavaScript console. You will see a window like this at the end of your browser, and here you will see the errors and any output in your browser. In JavaScript, we have a keyword which is console, and it refers to an object. An object is a collection of data and actions that we can use in our code. Keywords are words that are built into the JavaScript language, so the computer will recognize them and treat them especially. The first command we're gonna go over is Console.log. One action or method that is built into the console object is .log method. When we write Console.log, what we put inside the parentheses will be get printed or logged to the console. It's going to be very useful for us to print value to the console so we can see the work that we are doing. So it's time to type this in code editor and see the result in the console. Go to your code editor and inside the script tag type console.log and create a parentheses, then put a number like 5 there, and after the parentheses put a semicolon. Semicolon means the end of the comment. Save the file and go to the browser and refresh the page. There is a change in the console and it's 5 here, so whatever you put inside the parentheses will be written inside the web browser console. So this is the first command for you to learn in JavaScript and its console.log to put a stuff in the console. You can put other data type like a string and dates into the console, but you'll see later on that we can use console.log to print different kind of data. So it's time for you to do an exercise. What you need to do is to use console.log code in the code editor to log your age to the console. So what you need to do is to put your age into the console. And on the next line, log a number representing the number of weeks you have been programming. So you need to use two console.log. The first one put your age and the second one put your number of weeks you have been programming. Let's do that. I'm using console.log and I put my age 35, and on the next line console.log I've been programming for 5 weeks. And I get rid of the first console.log, just remove this code and save the file, then refresh the page. You see, here it says my age, and here it says the number of weeks I've been learning programming. Our code can quickly become difficult to understand when we return to it. So it's often useful to leave notes in our code for other developers or ourselves. As we write JavaScript, we can write comments in our code that the computer will ignore as our program runs. These comments exist just for human readers, not for computer. Comments can explain what the code is doing, leave instruction for developers using the code, or add any other useful annotations. There are two types of code comments in JavaScript. A single line comments will comment out a single line and is denoted with two forward slashes preceding it. So let's create a comment like this. Before second console.log, I just want to put a comment which describes the code under it. Print number of weeks I've learned coding. So save the file and refresh the page. You will see nothing will be appear about this line in the output because it's a comment and it's just for human reading. You can also use a single line comment to comment after a line of code, not before or after it, like this. Another form of comments is multi-line comment. It will comment out multiple lines and is denoted with /* to begin the comment and */ to end the comment. Let's say we want to comment these two lines. What we need to do is to put /* at the first and */ at the end. So if I save the file and refresh the page, nothing will be appear at the console because these commands will not run and they treat as a comments just for human reading. It's your time to do exercise. Let's practice adding some code comments. Print your name at line 1, your age at line 2, your sex at line 3, and your hobbies at line 4. So first of all, create 4 console.log to put this stuff on the console. I just get rid of this code. Console.log, my name, console.log, my age, console.log, my sex. You see, to put a string, I use double quote at the start and end of the string. So don't forget to put quote or double quote for a string, and don't use this for numbers. And the last console.log command is for hobbies, like skiing. Great, let's check the result. Refresh the page. You see in 4 lines, my information will be written in the console. So go back to exercise. On line 1, write a single line comment that says your age. It's my name, so I put my name here. On line 2, comment the whole line to ignore the comment. So the line 2, which says my age, I comment the whole line. And the last step in this exercise is use multi-line comment to comment line 3 and 4. So I use multi-line comment to ignore completely line 3 and 4. So it is supposed to put only John in the console. Let's save the file and refresh the page, And you see the only command will be run is Console.log John, because the line 2 commented with single line command and line 3 and 4 commented with multi-line command. Let's go for data types. Data types are the classification we give to different kinds of data that we use in programming. In JavaScript, there are 7 fundamental data types. The first one is number, which is any number including numbers with decimal. Let's put a number with Console.log into the console. Here, you did it before, like Console.log, like 10, or with decimal, Console.log 90.20. Here you see the result. Sorry, I missed the E for the console. We have number data type includes whole number and number with decimal point. The second data type is a string. Any grouping of characters on your keyboard, including letters, numbers, spaces, symbols, and etc., surrounded by single quote or double quote. Though we prefer single quote. Some people like to think of a string as a fancy word for text. We did it before, like John, or let's create a string data type with single quote. So I put a single quote and another and wrap the text with single quote. Here you see, this is a string data type in JavaScript. The third one is Boolean. This data type only has 2 possible values, either true or false, without quotes. It's helpful to think of Boolean as an on and off switches as the answer to a yes or no question. Let's create that. I'm gonna create a true and false on the console. Just type true without quote and false without quote. You see, this data type is Boolean data type, true and false. It's very useful for conditional statements. Null. This data type represents the intentional absence of a value and is represented by the keyword null without quotes. Let's put null in the console. Just type null. It's null data type to set a variable to null. It means the absence of data. Refresh the page and it's null. Symbol. It's a newer feature to language. Symbols are unique identifier used in more complex coding. No need to worry about this for now. And objects. Objects is a collection of related data. The first 6 of those types are considered primitive data types. They are the most basic data type in the language. In this sample, these 2 Console.log, which one of them is a string and the second is number, we first printed a string. Our string isn't just a string word. It includes both capital and lowercase letter, spaces, and punctuations. Next, we printed number 40. Notice we did not use code. Okay, it's exercise time. It's your time to this for a step of this exercise. On line 1, log the string JavaScript to the console. I just get rid of this code, and here I put Console.log. Because it's a string, I use quote, and inside the quote I put JavaScript. On line 2, log the number 2011 to the console. So because it's a number, I don't use quote and put a semicolon at the end of each command. On line 3, print wow, I love coding. I just copy the text here, and inside the code editor I just use Console.log, and there I put wow, I love coding. On the last one, on line 4, print number 20.49 to the console. Number, and here check the result. You see JavaScript 2011, wow, I love coding, and 20.49. Basic operators comes in handy when programming. An operator is a character that performs a task in our code. JavaScript has several built-in operators that allow us to perform mathematical calculation on numbers. This includes the following operators and their corresponding symbols. The first one is add, which plus symbols. The second one is subtracts with dash symbols. The third one is multiply with star symbols. The fourth one is divide with slash symbols. And the last one is reminder. Let's use these operators together with Console.log. Inside the code, I just remove this code, and here inside Console.log I use operators. The first one is plus, 4 plus 5. Let's see what happens when this code runs in the browser. Just refresh the page and you see instead of 4 plus 5, you see 9 in the console. The second is subtract, like 10 minus 5. The third one, multiply, 10 multiply 5. The fourth one is divide, 10 by 2. And the last one is reminder, percent symbol. Let's check the result. I refresh the page and you see this is 5 operators, arithmetic operators. The reminder operator returns the number that remains after the right-hand number divides into the left-hand number as many times as it evenly can. For example, 11 by 3 equals 2 because 3 fits into 11 3 times, leaving 2 as a reminder. It's exercise time. Inside of a Console.log, add 3.5 to your age. This is the age you'll be when we start sending people to live on Mars. Let's do this exercise. Console.log. My age is 35 plus 3.5. And the result is 38.5. On a new line, write another Console.log, take the current year and subtract 1969. The answer is how many years it's been since the 1969 moon landing. Current year is 2019 minus 1969. Let's check the result. 50 years. Create another console.log. Inside the parentheses, divide 65 by 240. Console.log 65 divide by 200. You see, the number is decimal. Create one last console.log. Inside the parentheses, multiply this number by 100. Console.log multiply by 100. Check the result and you see it's there. That's the percent of the sun that is made up of helium. Assuming we could stand on the sun, we would all sound like chipmunks. Let's use an operator to connect a string together. It's a string concatenation. Operators aren't just for numbers. When a plus operator is used on two strings, it appends the right string to the left string. For example, use console.log with hi and ya, it prints haya. Or console.log wow and it prints wow. Or console.log I love to a space and code, it prints I love to code. This process of appending one string to another is called concatenation. Notice in the third example, we had to make sure to include a space at the end of the first string. Here, I mean. The computer will join the string exactly, so we needed to make sure to include the space we wanted between the two strings. Let's see these examples. Appending front to space, back to space, and like this. Just like the regular math, we can combine or chain our operations to get a final result. For example, I just want to write 1 next to 2. You see, I use quotes to specify a string, and plus just concat and connect to a string together, and 3. Check the result. 1, 2, 3. If I forget to put a space inside the quote, the result is not what we expected. So to put a space, you need to put inside the quote because it's exactly written in the console. It's exercise time. Inside the console.log statement, concatenate the two strings hello and world. Let's do that. Here I concat the first one, hello plus world, and check the result. Oops, we forgot about the space last time. This time console.log hello and world again, but this time make sure to use a string concatenation to also include a space between the two words. So here I just put an empty string and use plus to connect these two words. You see, there's a space in the console. Properties. When you introduce a new piece of data into a JavaScript program, the browser saves it as an instance of data type. Every string instance has a property called length that stores the number of characters in that string. You can retrieve property information by appending the string with a period and the property name. For example, I just want to find the length of hello and put it into the console. What I need to do is to just type hello inside code, and after the code I put a period and type length. What this command do is to calculate the number of characters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and write it into the console. You see, I see 5 in the console. The dot is another operator. We call it dot operator. In the example above, the value saved to the length property is retrieved from the instance of a string hello. The program prints 5 to the console because hello has 5 characters in it. The dot is another operator which we call it dot operator. Exercise. Use dot length property to log the number of characters in the following string to the console. I just copy this string and inside code editor replace hello with this string. The number of characters inside this string is 30. Methods. Let's look at each of these lines. Here I just want to console.log hello world dot to uppercase and use a parenthesis at the end of to uppercase. Let's check the result. You see, all letters converted to capital letters. So here, to uppercase method is called on the string instance hello, and the result is logged to the console. This method returns a string in all capital letters. Let's go another method. Another method I wanna write into the console is start with and put a string inside a start with method. Let's check the result. The result is true. On the second line, the dot starts with method is called on the string instance hey. This method also accepts the character h as an input or argument between the parentheses. Since the string hey does start with the letter h, the method returns the boolean true. So it's your time to use dot uppercase method to log the string I love coding to the console in all capital letter. So go to the console and use console.log, and inside it I love coding and put a dot at the end and use to uppercase. And don't forget put a parenthesis at the end of to uppercase because it's a method and need a pair of parentheses. Save the file and check the result. I love coding in all capital case. The second exercise. Use trim method to remove the white space at the beginning and the end of a string in second console.log statement. So another method for a string is trim. Let's use console.log. Here we have a string which has multiple spaces at the end and start. And for this string, I use trim to remove spaces from start and the end of the string. You see, it's the result. What happens if I don't use trim? Let's check. You see, the spaces at the beginning and at the end remains, and with trim command, the spaces will be removed. The last part of Introduction to JavaScript is built-in objects. In addition to console, there are other objects built into JavaScript. Down the line, you'll build your own object, but for now, these built-in objects are full of useful functionality. For example, if you wanted to perform more complex mathematical operations than arithmetic, JavaScript has the built-in math object. The great thing about objects is that they have methods. Let's call the random method from the built-in math objects. Let's get rid of this code and use Console.log. And inside the log method, I use math object and put a dot to access the method of math. And this one I want to use is random, and use parentheses, put a semicolon at the end, and refresh the page to see the random number generated by math.random method. So in the example above, we called the .random method by appending the object name with the dot operator, the name of method, and opening and closing parentheses. This method returns a random number between 0 and 1. To generate a number between 0 and 50, we could multiply its result by 50. Let's do that here and multiply the result by 50. Check the result, and it's a number between 0 and 50. The example above will likely evaluate to a decimal. To ensure the answer is a whole number, we can take advantage of another useful math method called math.floor. So what we want to do is to wrap all this expression inside math.floor and wrap the whole inside math.floor. Let's check the result. You see, the random number converted to whole number from decimal number. So math.floor takes a decimal number and round down to the nearest whole number. You can use math.floor to round down a random number like this. In this case, math.random generates a random number between 1 and 0. We then multiply that number by 50. So now we have a number between 0 and 50. Then math.floor rounds the number down to the nearest whole number. So here you see an operator, a method of math object, and another method of math object which apply to the result of multiply operator. You see, whenever you refresh the page, the number here is completely different because it's random numbers between 0 and 50. Exercise. Inside of a Console.log, create a random number with math.random, then multiply it by 100. The only thing you need to do is to change the 50 to 100, and if you refresh the page, you see the number is between 0 and 100. Now use math.floor to make the output a whole number. Okay, we already did it here. And find a method on JavaScript math object that returns the smallest integer greater than or equal to a decimal number. Use this method with a number 43.8, log the answer there. If you check the JavaScript math object, you could get the seal as a method for this action. So what I want to do is to console.log math.seal, and inside that I put the number. What I supposed to have is 44. Let's check the result. You see, it's 44. It's round up instead of math.floor, which round down. Let's review this lesson. Data is printed or logged to the console, a panel that displays messages with Console.log. You can write single-line comments with // and multi-line comment between /* and */. There are 7 fundamental data types in JavaScript: string, numbers, Boolean, null, undefined, symbols, and object. Number are any number without quotes. A string are characters wrapped in single or double quotes. The built-in arithmetic operators includes add, subtract, multiply, divide, and remainder. Objects, including instances of data types, can have properties which store information. The properties are denoted with a dot after the name of the object, for example, hello.length. Objects, including instances of data types, can have methods, which performs actions. Methods are called by appending the object or instance with a period, the method name, and parentheses. For example, hello dot to uppercase. We can access properties and method by using dot operator. Built-in objects, including math, are collection of methods and properties that JavaScript provides. That's all about this lesson, the introduction to the JavaScript. In next lesson, we will go through the details of JavaScript fundamental, and please follow the YouTube channel and check that lessons.